Alright guys, welcome back to Strong Successful Male. So for today I'm going to be doing part 3 of a video I did a few weeks ago, which was titled, Wife is not interested in sex for years, husband is thinking about ditching her. Now I did part 2 to this a few days ago, and for a quick recap guys, in part 1 of the story, basically this guy had been married to his wife for 3 years, and for the last couple of years, no sex, nothing. And he's getting really sick of it because obviously he's got needs, and hey, if you're not fucking, then why the hell are you in a relationship? It's not a romantic relationship. But that is a stereotype that happens a lot of times in marriages. And throughout the article, I theorized that probably either she was hooking up with some other dude or quite simply married him and using him for his resources because he was taking care of all the bills, taking care of everything, while she went and worked on a master's degree or something like that, graduate school, whatever, and she was focusing all her attention on that and used that as an excuse because her stress and her workload of studying in school to not have sex with him. Nothing at all, okay? And when he tried to bring this up, he brought up maybe going to counseling. She said, okay, she'll find a counselor. Well, she never did. And finally, the first video ended with him going out to a Super Bowl party with friends, and some woman at the bar found him attractive, was flirting with him, made him feel really good. Wife was pissed off about this. They got into a fight, and she said, he's being selfish because he's focused on his needs, not hers. Just gaslighting him. And part 2, what I did a few days ago, was basically he had enough. He got himself an apartment, confronted her, basically said it was over, and she started breaking down crying. And when she finally saw that he was out of there, guess what? She admitted that she cheated on him, but only once, she said, which of course is, we all know, bullshit, and also got an STI. So talk about karma. And the second video is about all what's going on with him getting the divorce and with the family and the lawyers and all that, and obviously with her and things like that, because you guys had asked about that. Now, finally, part 3, the final part about this, is dealing with what he's going through in the divorce process. So for those of you guys in a situation like this that are in a bad marriage and just feel trapped and want out, this is a story that can show you that even though you go through hardships and the divorce is hell, you can get through it to the other side and start over, okay? Because this guy takes a hit. No joke here. I mean, this guy, there's a cost to freedom, guys. There's a price. This guy takes a hit, but he's going to be free, and you get a second chance. Because, guys, like I said in the previous video, guys are generally smart with money. So even if we take a hit from a divorce, guys can live cheap, take care of what needs to be taken care of, rebuild our wealth, reinvest it, and then make up for it. But gain all this knowledge and not ever get fucking married again and get screwed over, guys can make this mistake early on when they're young because they don't know any better about marriage and all that. But in this day and age, how things are, if you have this knowledge, which I talk about all the times in videos, if you have this knowledge of how things are in this day and age, particularly in the West, and watch other videos just like mine from other channels, because there's a lot of good guys out there, and you still go and get married and it's a living hell, it's your fault. I mean, you were warned, okay? I'm just telling you guys. You guys can do what you want that are watching this, but at the end of the day, because, it's your life, but if you end up getting married and spending having all this knowledge of how things are, thinking that, oh, your girl's different or your wife or your situation's different, and you go through this shit, you got no one to blame but yourself. And especially if you married once and got hammered and do it all over again. That's insane. But it's your life. So I'm going to go into this here. This deals with part 3. And this is partially him responding to questions he asked because he posted his story online. And then the rest going into just him telling the remainder of the story. So the first question he got from somebody updating the situation was, have I talked to the wife or seen her since I left the house? And he left, and he pretty much is having no contact with her except by, that's it, letting the divorce lawyer handle things. He says, I haven't communicated or seen the soon-to-be ex at all since I moved out. For the first few weeks, she tried calling me, but I stopped answering any unknown numbers. She left me 2 crying messages, but soon after the lawyers got involved, those stopped. Smart man. Next, is a divorce going smoothly? Through the lawyer, I offered spousal support and amount he suggested in lump sum. She could have everything in the house. I tried to make it as simple as possible and to keep the conversation to a minimum. About a month or so after starting, I found out that she had been telling her friends that I had been emotionally abusive to her, that I kept pressuring her to do all these things that she didn't want to do, that I wasn't supportive of her pursuing a graduate degree. All of this is a lie, of course, and I almost called her to tell her to quit her bullshit. See? The victim card here. This guy, and if you watch the first video, see this guy was completely supportive of her, paying all the bills, taking care of everything. She didn't work at all while she focused on her master's degree. Okay? And, you know, but now she's saying to all her friends and all that, oh, he's selfish and he made me uncomfortable and emotionally abusive and all these other things, which is total bullshit because this guy was a good guy. But this is the type of selfish bullshit that happens. It's crazy. This is the one point where I can say I felt anger. But thankfully my parents and my friends just told me to let the lawyer handle it and not let her get me to call her and lose my cool for even 1 second until the divorce was done. Also, through mutual friends, I found out that she was had a dating profile on a dating app and is dating. Lawyer tells me this is a good thing and I tend to agree. Of course, that's how it works. Because generally speaking, women, not all, but a lot of women can't be alone. And they got to have guys, at least one guy, giving them attention, taking them out. If the woman perceives him as an alpha, sleeping with her. So she can easily transition into getting over the guy. And in this situation here, since she obviously knows she's going to get divorced, and she's obviously going to get something, a woman like this is going to need another meal ticket. So she's finding some other victim, some other sucker who's not going to know any better, and she's going to lure in, and just you watch, she'll probably do the same thing to him. Just watch. But hopefully karma will get her, and she'll get some guy that will treat her in the manner that she treated this guy. We can all hope. He says, there's a lot of information the lawyers ask about. It's surreal to have someone you hardly know asking you very specific details about your sex life, finances, and other very personal things. Overall, this part of the process has been the hardest for me and has left me drained. But on the plus side, the lawyer thinks this will be done in a few weeks, so I'll finally be free. When this guy's free, he's going to be doing fucking cartwheels and jumping up and down and celebrating. It'll be like the end of the movie of The Shawshank Redemption, where Andy Dufresne crawled in that pipe out of prison. I mean, you guys saw this movie, and he finally gets free, and he comes out of the fucking gutter, and it's pouring rain, and his hands are up in the air. Just freedom. That's going to be this guy. Next question. Did I tell my friends that she cheated? Yes, and that she got an STI. And that we haven't had sex in a year. I had to explain why I just up and left. I was very candid. I'm not going to carry any shame for her. How much is the divorce costing? I can't say exactly, between $100,000 to $150,000 for a one-time buyout. Hear that, guys? And I don't think he means he's paying the lawyers this. What he means is the one-time buyout, that's what she's going to get in one form or another in terms of the division of the assets. $100,000 to $150,000. She never worked. This guy did everything for her. He married her, and she went to get her master's or graduate school, whatever the hell it is. And this guy worked, paid all the bills, took care of everything so she could focus on that. And he wasn't getting any. And still, and she cheated and got an STI. And still, he has to pay all this money. Does this sound like a good situation, guys? For you young guys watching this, this is the type of shit you could deal with. You get married and do everything right, and you still got to pay. So keep that in mind before you start thinking that your girl's different, or that you want to be married, or they'll be, think it's going to be some romance movie. And those of you guys have been through this bullshit, you know. Pay attention, guys. Next question he got. Did I get an STI from her? No. I had myself checked once, right after she told me, and another time since I'm clear. Hey, that's great. Would I get married again? Emphatic, no. The last 3 years were emotionally drainage for me, and emasculating. Every stereotype I'd heard about marriage before I got married had come to pass. And yet he still got married. My wife was entitled, and didn't hold herself accountable in the marriage. She kept reminding me of her rights and my responsibilities. She felt that everything bad that had happened was my fault. and she insisted that her feelings became my facts. And worst of all, she would easily project her mistakes and guilt onto me and make me carry them instead of dealing with them like a grown-up. This all sounds about right. And I see this everywhere I look. I was raised to believe that husband and wife were things in things together, responsible for each other, but when I look around, all I see is the message that women do not do too much and men are the problem. That women don't need men, that a wife is unhappy in her marriage, and that's the man's fault. And maybe she can do better. I see it in some of my friends' marriages. My friends' wives just casually disrespect their husbands all the time. And I felt that from her. My mother told me that women today compete more than cooperate. And I can see that 100% when I look at my buddies and their marriages. And mine. Most of my friends have kids and they feel trapped. Yes, most guys do feel trapped because with the wife and then the kids and all that, and they want to be good dads. But this is the unfortunate reality how things are. You know, the old thing about like a marriage where the husband and wife work together and actually give a shit about each other and the old values, that's long gone, okay? What our grandparents had, that's long gone, okay? And it can be a very, very long time before it comes back. Because what's going on now is so many men have gotten the shaft, but now men are waking up to see how things really are. And so a lot of people are talking about this now, and I do these videos to help guys out so that you guys watching this, like I said this many times, if I can help one guy out, that he doesn't make this mistake, or I can help him out that he hears a story like this and realizes my life sucks, I'm miserable, I'm going to take that leap to get out of this mess, then I've done my job, and I'm happy to do it. I really am. And there's plenty of other guys that do great channels like mine. Everybody has their own style and format, but they essentially talk about the same thing. So this way hopes that more and more guys aren't going to make these mistakes and have to deal with this bullshit. I look at I got some friends that have some good marriages, by the way, and they're pretty happy, but I also have some friends that have some shitty ones, and they feel trapped. And one guy I was talking to years ago about this, and he basically said that he felt trapped. And then he said, he's a good guy, but he is total beta, and his wife fucking wears the pants. And he said flat out, I don't want to be alone. And I'm like, you'd rather be with a woman that freaking yells at you and disrespects you, and got fat, by the way. She used to be good looking, and all these negative things. You'd rather deal with that than be alone? He's like, come on, man. He can start over. Nope. My prediction is one day she's going to end it with him. I'm waiting for that, and I'm going to be there to help him get back on track, and I most certainly will, but he didn't want to listen. He says here, I realize now that before I met my wife, I was already very happy. Listen to that. He was already very happy, as a lot of guys are. I really didn't want for anything. My business was going really well, and I enjoyed my life very much. I got married because I thought my life would get better, and I would be happier. That's what they sell in the movies and TV. You see it all the time. It's all bullshit, guys. That we would combine the best parts of our lives to our mutual benefit, so that our future kids would have the security of two dedicated, awesome parents. But I see now that once we got married, I basically began subsidizing her life. That's exactly what happened. She expected me to do what she wanted and expected me to allow her to do what she wanted. She benefited from a better life, and all I got were obligations. That's the most honest way I can put it. The Bible says that it's better for a man to live alone on the corner of a roof than in a house with a quarrelsome woman. I agree. That's the first time I heard that passage from the Bible. And if anybody knows this passage, please tell me what part of the Bible it is. I'm curious. I'm not a religious guy or anything like that, but I'm just curious. There's nothing I get from being married. I don't need to be married again. No, he doesn't. And even though this guy's taking a hit, he can start over. And then if he wants to have, obviously, women he can have a good time with, he can do that. Don't move in with them, and don't marry them. Just have a good time. And when things run their course, move on. End of story. This guy's in his mid-30s. He's got his whole life ahead of him. Another question he got from people, do I miss her? Pfft. No. Sexual intimacy and trust are necessary components of attachments for me. And ease. I didn't have either with her. I had the opposite. I felt inadequate. Like I was always trying to hit a target that she kept moving. I never felt that way in my life before her. And part of me realized that she wanted it that way. So that was the focus, would be on me instead of her. That's not love, that's evil. So no, I don't miss her. I feel like a better man now. And the last question he got, because big surprise, somebody had to ask this: am I still dating the colleague from work? He says, we haven't slept together in a few weeks, but we still hang out, and I enjoy it. I would call us friends. Friends with benefits. That's exactly what this guy needs. He's fooling around with a coworker, and I really hope this guy backs away from that and finds somebody he's not working with, because we all know how that could bite him in the ass. He's dealt with enough bullshit already, but if that's what it took to help him kind of get over this shit, getting some ass and stuff like that, or just have simply a friend right now, fine. But just stay away from the coworker. Not a good idea. We all know this. So, all right, guys. So that is his story. That wraps up this. That's part 3 of the trilogy about this guy. Like I said, guys, before, young guys don't know any better. They don't have very good role models to learn from in regards to getting married. They get sucked into all the bullshit from TV and movies and think it's going to be all wonderful and happily ever after. I wish it was. That'd be a nice world, but that just simply is not the case. It is a different ball game nowadays. And yes, it's heavily in the West, but guess what? I get emails from guys all over the world. You name a country, I've gotten an email from telling me it's the same shit there, and in some cases worse. So it's everywhere, guys. So, and obviously depending on your culture, your religion, some guys obviously it's expected to get married, otherwise they dishonor the family or has a negative impact on their religion, stuff like that. But if you are living in an area where it isn't like that, there's no reason to do that. Not in this day and age. Again, if you want to have relationships with a woman you really click with and get along with, okay, go right ahead, enjoy yourself. Don't move in with her, don't get married, and have a good time. End of story. Life is short. Have fun. So, all right, guys, that is it for today. Be sure to comment down below. Let me know what you think about this. And be sure to like the video, share with your friends, and subscribe. And I'll catch you next time.